Your thoughts create your reality, which is great news if you don't really like the life that you're living and you don't like the person that you are, because that means that we can change that. So in today's video, I want to make this information as practical as I can for you so that you can begin to change your mindset and start aligning your mind with the life that you actually desire to live. So in order to explain to you how our thoughts create our reality, imagine that you wake up today and you say, I am so grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for my family, my friends. I'm so blessed. You're going to automatically instigate a feeling of gratitude inside of you. And that is going to affect the way that you act in the world today. When you go into the kitchen and let's say your family is there, you're probably going to greet them with kindness. You're probably going to eat with gratitude. You're going to be grateful for the breakfast that you're having. You're going to feel more energized because you just feel good about your life. On the other hand, if today you wake up and say, my life sucks, I can't believe I have to do this again, you're going to feel a little grumpy. You're going to be sad. You're probably going to feel frustrated. And because your thoughts dictated the way that you feel, those feelings are going to affect the way that you act. If you go into the kitchen, you're probably not going to be very kind to the people around you. You're probably going to be retrieving your energy, trying to avoid eye contact. And that is going to dictate the way that you act in the world today. And so it is super important that we understand that our thoughts are constantly affecting the way that we feel, which affects the way that we act and speak in the world. The thing is that most of us have the same consistent thoughts over and over again. And all you have to do is pretty much play the game of self-observation to notice this. If right now I tell you to look at yourself objectively for around 3 days, you are going to notice that you are constantly repeating the same thoughts in a different scenario because we are creatures of habit. The truth is that we have learned how to think from our family, from our friends, from the school that we went to, from society, from our religion. And we haven't really had a say on what we want to think until now, if you haven't awakened to this truth. Because if from this moment on you're able to control what you give your attention to, then you will start curating the garden of your mind and it will become something that is aligned with the goals that you have for yourself and the person that you want to be. So if you may have noticed, the mind is constantly filled with thoughts. You're probably thinking all day long because when we see something in our outer world, it instigates our mind to make associations that we have had in the past from memories, from experiences, and we amplify that thought just by looking at something and experiencing something. So let's say, for example, that you're walking down the street and you see this person that reminds you of your friends. And all of a sudden, your mind is going to bring all of the memories that you have of that friend, all of the biases and the opinions that you have about them. And it is something that you really can't control. But even though you can't control that, what you can control is what you give your attention to. And that is where you have a superpower, and really it is what differentiates us from nature and from animals. The fact that we can control our consciousness, our attention. So if right now you notice that maybe your mind is not that positive, maybe you think about fear a lot, maybe you have very anxious thoughts, maybe you have a lot of intrusive thoughts, then your biggest tool is going to be to give your attention to things that are actually constructive to you and to your life. Your mind is a garden, and every thought that you have is a little seed. And every time that you give attention to that thought, it is like you're watering that seed and it's growing and growing and growing. And eventually that thought is going to become this big flower. And it can either be a nice, beautiful flower, or it can turn into a weed that is affecting the whole garden of your mind. So essentially, controlling your attention is very, very important. Like I said, if right now you find that you're very negative, you don't want to be giving your attention to more negativity in the world. If right now your mind starts saying, I'm not good enough, I suck, life is horrible, then it is good to shift your attention to have affirmations that are going to help you counteract those thoughts so that you can plant new seeds in the garden of your mind. Of course, it is important to understand that tending our mental garden is a skill. It is something that you learn. It is something that you do with persistence, regularly, with consistency. It is not something that's just gonna happen from one day to the next. And it is not something that you have to feel bad about, because this is just something that we want to be aware of so that we can improve our mind, so that we can improve our life. Everything really starts in the mind. So if you have an idea about what your goals are in life, and let's say that right now you want to be this person, you want to be having this type of confidence, you want to feel this type of way in your skin, you want to have these types of things and experiences in your life, then what you want to do is that you want to design that person to the T. You want to be very specific, very detailed in how that person operates, because the best way to shift our mentality into the one that we want is to be able to know how our ideal person, ideal self really, because it already is a person that we can become, how they think differently from us. And so designing a new life is pretty simple if you know what you're looking for, but of course a lot more difficult in actual application. But let's say that right now your ideal self loves themselves. They see themselves through eyes of love, they're grateful for their life. Then you want to think about what kind of thoughts they have that help them feel that way. Like I said before, if you wake up complaining about your life, it is likely that that is going to make you feel really bad. So that ideal self probably thinks, I feel amazing today. They look in the mirror and they say, you're beautiful or you're handsome. They compliment themselves. So you really want to understand how the mind of the person that you want to become operates. And this is an exercise that you're going to have to get a journal and write everything down, like I said, in detail. You don't want to miss any area of their lives so that you can start making your shifts and start aligning your mind to theirs. It is also very important that you take a look at your mind. The best way to take a look at our minds, like I said, is to be observant. You have to observe yourself like if you were a camera following you all day long. And if you're a beginner and you've never really taken a look at your mind, what I encourage you to do is to grab a journal and time block your thoughts. Every hour or every 30 minutes, you can put a timer on your phone and jot down what you're thinking about and see how that's making you feel. And even go as far as seeing how that feeling affected the way that you showed up in the world. And you'll start seeing the correlation of how your thoughts can affect your feeling, can affect your actions, can affect your words. And that is a vicious cycle that then affects your thoughts again. And you find yourself in this loop of thinking in the same way over and over again. When you have a good list and a good idea of the person that you are now, the mind that you have now, it is a lot easier to start aligning that mind with the new mind, the new reality of the person that you're trying to become. The best tool that I have come to know is affirmations, because affirmations are pretty much thoughts if you think about it. Your mind is constantly thinking all day long anyway. So when you have affirmations, you're pretty much able to be more picky about what you're thinking. You want to have a list of powerful affirmations that match that person that you want to become and that counteract the negative thoughts that you're currently having. Like I said, for example, once again, let's go back to the morning. You wake up most of the days and you feel today is not a good day, I feel really bad. Then you're going to use affirmations that say, today is a blessed day. Today is a blessed day. It doesn't matter if you don't feel it yet, because you're just repeating to your mind consistently a new thought. And while it is something that you're not going to feel as true immediately, it is as if you were watering that thought the more that you say it. And like I said before, you're watering that garden of your mind, and that seed will eventually sprout into a beautiful flower and take the place of that weed that wasn't serving you. It's really important that you understand that you can really trick your mind for good and for bad. So it's really important to be aware of the subtle jokes that you say to yourself too. You never want to say, oh, I'm just dumb. Oh, I'm this. Like, you never want to say anything negative to you, even if you're joking, because those are other seeds that you're planting in your subconscious mind that will then sprout into the way that you show up in the world. Because as you have seen, our thoughts affect the way that we feel, which then affect the way that we act and speak and show up in the world. So you never want to put yourself down. In this space, when you're trying to become someone new, when you're trying to create a new reality, you really want to protect your mental ground. You really want to be picky about what you allow in. You don't want to be adding in extra negativity into your life. Let's say right now you're a very anxious person. If you want to have less anxiety, I wouldn't recommend for you to watch the news right now. You would want to protect your space. You would want to protect what you consume, because not everything that you consume is going to be good for you. And our mind is just grabbing everything in from the outer world consistently. And we want to make sure that we are allowing clean thoughts to come in, clean information to come in, the information that will actually be in alignment with the life that we want to live. Because in this game of clearing your mental garden, it is all about being very picky about what you are putting in there so that those seeds don't mix with seeds that you don't want. The truth is that changing our mind is possibly one of the most difficult things that we're going to do, especially in the beginning. So this is a sacred time of transformation for you. You want to make sure that you have boundaries with yourself, that you have boundaries with people about what you're no longer going to be allowing into your life. Because like I said, you want to protect that garden. You're very much having these tiny baby seeds that need all the love, all the care, all the right attention right now. So you don't want to be putting anything negative into your mind as you're trying to change yourself, because then it's going to be counteractive with what you're trying to do. And just remember that this is a process and that you really want to be gentle with yourself, because you're not going to be perfect every day. If you have been thinking the same way for years and years, it is very hard to change an old habit, but it is still possible. It is not impossible. You just have to be patient with yourself, kind with yourself, and just gently direct your attention back to the way that you want to think now, little by little, seeing this as a process that takes time. And you're constantly watering the seeds of your mind. You're constantly giving yourself as much love as you can. You want to give yourself that space to become the person that you want. And to know that even when you feel like you're lacking willpower, even one tiny step forward is actually taking you towards your dreams, towards your goals. And it does matter more than you think. I hope this video allowed you to understand how you can curate your mental garden and to start aligning your mind with the life and the person that you want to become. And if you enjoyed this video, I will encourage you to give it a like, to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more videos like these. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here today. I will see you again very soon. Bye.